when you think about social work, it's just such a negative connotation um, out there for us, and I want to change that. I want to create a space where we support and learn from each other. Let's jump right into it. So I wanted to start the first episode of the Social Work Soapbox and hospital discharge planning around the three things that I absolutely love about being a medical social worker and a discharge planner. And I want to do that because so many social workers ask about what it's like to be in a hospital setting, and they don't know what that looks like, and they're really thinking about transitioning from outpatient or, therapy, counseling services. So it was important to me to start the very first episode about the three things that I love about inpatient social work. And I've been doing this for about 6 years now at three different hospitals. So when I say I love it, I absolutely love it. And I honestly can't see myself doing anything else. First thing, the environment. It's a hospital. It's a very clean and organized environment. That's not to say outpatient and different community programs are not clean and are not organized, but let's be honest, a lot of the times these programs, especially the smaller programs, are not funded to the degree that they should be. They're short-staffed, and you can see that sometimes when you walk into the door. You can see that the facility isn't in the best condition that it could be if it had the resources and the funding. And you could just tell that there are some structural issues going on. With a hospital, absolutely not. Working in a hospital, everything is extremely clean and organized for obvious reasons. We're talking about patient care. So one of the first things that I noticed when I started in a hospital for my second year internship was how clean and organized everything was, how structured everything was. As someone with ADHD, that was very important to me because I need structure, I need organization, and that's exactly what the hospital setting will give you if that's something that you can appreciate. The second thing I love about hospital social work is that you get to touch so many different populations. So I'm coming from a background of working with sexual assault and domestic violence victims through group therapy, individual therapy, counseling, and you work with, you guys know that when you work on the outpatient setting in the community, you're working with a person over time. And that's a beautiful thing, and I truly did enjoy the work. But in a lot of those cases, you're working with, you have a niche, like you're working with a particular population, you become an expert. And what I love about hospital social work is it exposes you to so many different patient populations. So I'm more familiar with inpatient medicine. And on this service line, you'll come across patients who obviously came to the hospital for a medical reason, but a lot of the times patients will come into the hospital or be admitted for social reasons as well. And then of course you get the combination. So for example, every day does not look the same. The types of patients you will come across are so vast. For example, one day you'll meet a patient who has substance abuse or ETOH, alcohol issues. And so you get to tap into your counseling skills for that and resources for that to support that patient. A lot of the times you will come across patients who are in the hospital, again, for medical reasons, but they disclose that they are suffering from depression or anxiety along with, God forbid, domestic violence or anything like that. So it never really gets boring. You have to stay on top of your toes. You have to stay invested in education and making sure you're familiar with so many different areas. But the beautiful thing about it is you just get exposed to so many different issues in the community that it just keeps you on your toes as a social worker, and you really get to see where what population you might enjoy working with the most. And then that can give you some insight into where you might want to take your career or what you want to invest your education in moving forward. But I would say that's probably the top thing that I do enjoy about the hospital setting. It's also very short term. So if you're not someone who enjoys working with people for extended periods of time, a lot of social workers don't, then this is a great environment for you because hospital is about treating the acute issue, supporting any social issue that may come up, and then discharging you back into the community with resources if that's necessary. So you're only working with a patient. You can work with a patient for, say, a day. You can work with a patient for a few days. And you could work with a patient for a few weeks, depending on the acute issue that they're there for. But it's really short term. And again, you have a caseload, so you're working with, let's just say, for example, a dozen patients, there for a dozen different reasons, and a handful of them have social issues that you get to explore and tap into and support them with. So, hands down, I would say that's the top reason why I do enjoy hospital social work. So, for the third reason why I love hospital social work, it has to be the exposure to so many different personalities and disciplines. Top tier. We're talking about interdisciplinary teamwork. We're talking about physical therapy, nursing. You're obviously working with doctors with various backgrounds and degrees in education. You're working with physician assistants. You're working with nutrition. It's just so many different disciplines that you get exposed to that you just never stop learning. And everyone's role is so important to the patient's care that you just absorb so much of that knowledge and their expertise when you go to rounds in the morning and you discuss a case that's more complex than the next. And sometimes I'm really in awe. Like sometimes I can really sit back and just enjoy listening to another discipline talk their shit. It's just being blatantly honest. Like, it's really inspiring to see, everyone come together to support a patient and just show the level of expertise that they've built over the years in support of a patient. And obviously I get to flex my skills as well as a social worker and all that I know about discharge planning and what that social issue might be for that patient. So I enjoy my moments as well, but I definitely enjoy sitting back sometimes and just listening to what others have to say. I'll have to say that's probably a top reason for me for sure. Again, in a hospital setting, you just really never stop learning. There's just so many different opportunities and areas for growth on a personal and professional level that I don't take for granted. And I think that if you're someone that's considering going into the medical social work field and starting at in a hospital setting, especially a social worker who is young and just entering the field, you will be exposed exponentially to so much education and information that wherever you decide to go after hospital social work, you will probably be prepared. You'll probably be more than prepared. And that's the same for someone who's been in the field for 10 years, 20 years, and they've been, thinking about transitioning into medical social work. And perhaps you've been in the field for so long that you don't feel like you're growing anymore, and you just want to expand yourself and grow, and you're interested in doing that. And I think that the hospital would give that to you. I think that hospital social work would give you that opportunity to really dust off some of your skills and learn so much more that you really just can't go wrong, if I'm being honest. If you made it this far in the episode, our very first Social Work Soapbox's very first episode, thank you. I appreciate you. Please let me know if there's anything that I can speak on specifically. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And you guys just let me know what it is that you want to touch on. I have so many ideas in my head that, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming to figure out where to start and what I actually want to touch on. But if you guys pose some questions to me, very specific questions, I'll definitely respond in the comment section. You can always reach out and DM me if there's something that I could have elaborated on a little bit further, or if you just simply have some more questions. So thank you guys.